Okay, here in the second video, we are going to look at writing inequalities, but not just one. We are going to jump forward and think, what if I have a system? What if I have two equations on this graph? I see two lines, and I need to write those both as inequalities. Here's the thing. Think about them separately. Like, try to block the other one out. Just be like, okay, I'm only going to look at one, and I'm going to focus on it one at a time. Does it matter which order? Absolutely not. You can put it in any order you want to put it in, but you need to focus on one equation and then the other one. So I'm going to start with this equation. And I'm going to think, oh, looky there. I already know my b. So this is a regular y equals mx plus b type of line. So I'm going to go ahead. It's a negative slope. It looks like it has a slope intercept of 3. I'm going to look for the m. So if I look here, pretty point, no. It's all the way down here. So to get there, I'd have to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, down 5 over 1. So think that would be negative 5 over 1, or that'd just be negative 5, right? Let's start writing that equation. So y, did I shade above it or below it? I shaded above, so greater than, is it solid? Yes, solid tells me it's actually touching that line. That line is part of the solution set, so equal to negative 5 over 1 is negative 5x, and then this would just be plus 3. So there's my first inequality, but a system has to have at least two. So I'm going to go write the second one. Now that's a special one. Look at that. That is flat. That's horizontal, right? Remember horizontal, we used the little word hoi. Horizontal line, zero slope, no fun, and y equals. So if I thought about this as y equals a constant or a number, where does it cross the y? Well, it crosses the y right here at negative 2. So I'd say, well, that's going to be a negative 2. Now let's rewrite that using an inequality symbol. And I'm going to do so by looking at my line. Did I shade above it or below it? Well, I was above. Above is greater. And then I'm going to say, is it equal to? ... No, not equal to. This is the I'm not touching you line, but all but touching you. So y is greater than negative 2. So now I have two equations. We don't write them this way, though. We're going to write them right over the top of each other so that we can show that they belong together. So my system would be y is greater than or equal to negative 5x plus 3, and y is greater than 2. Let's take a look at another one. Write the system. Again, two lines on here, so we got to be careful. Look at each one, pick one. It does not matter which one you look at first. I'm just going to look at the positive one first. Again, I'm going to start with, I know it's positive, so I'm going to start with y equals mx plus b. And then I'm going to figure out what I know. On this line, I know that I have a b of 3. Okay. My slope. Well, here's a pretty point, and here's a pretty point. So that means I'd go up 1, and I'd go over 1, 2, 3. So my slope is positive 1/3, and I know it's positive because it's going uphill. Then I can start putting it together. Y is, did I shade above or below? Shaded above, that's greater. I'm looking at the line, it's solid, so I am touching, so that's equal to 1/3 x plus 3. Okay, now let's take a look at our second line that we have here. Again, it's a negative this time, but I know that it's still going to be in y equals mx plus b. I'm going to start with the b because that's usually the easiest to find. The b is negative 2. I'm going to put that right there underneath the b so I remember where it goes. Then I'm going to look for my slope. Looking for a nice, pretty point. Oh, and I really don't get to one until way up here. All right, let's start counting. If I go this direction, I would have went up 1, 2, 3, 4, up 4, back 1, 2, 3. So if I went that way, I would say, well, I went up 4 and back 3. So it'd be 4 over negative 3, which remember, if I have a negative in the denominator, it just means the entire fraction is negative because one's a positive, one's a negative. So y, did I shade above this line? Now don't pay attention to this one, only pay attention to the dotted. Am I above it or below it in shading? I'm above, so greater than. Dotted, not equal to. And then that fraction is just negative all around, so negative 4/3. I'm going to have the x and then negative 2, so subtract 2. I would write my system one over the other. So y is greater than or equal to 1/3 x plus 3 over y is greater than negative 4/3 x minus 2. All right, so it's important to remember that when you are looking at systems, or even if you're just looking at a single inequality, start with thinking, can I get this into y equals mx plus b? The slope part is the same, the b part, just like we used to write just a regular system of equations. What you have to watch for is your shade. Did it shade above or was it shaded below? That's greater than or equal to. Is my line solid, meaning I am equal to, I am touching that line, everything on that line is part of my solution? Or is it a dotted line back to the I'm not touching you, but I'm as close as I can possibly get?